So lately, many of you have been noticing black feathers. And in the same breath, the heavens above us have been speaking through this blood moon. These signs are not separate, but they go together in cohesion. They are part of the same spiritual conversation that is being brought to you right now before your eyes. They would like to shut it down, but the truth is so profound. Okay? Black feathers have long carried the meaning of divine protection. They appear when hidden battles are being fought on your behalf. And they're also a sign to show you being shielded. You're being shielded from harm. Okay, we're talking about black feathers. Things that your eyes cannot see, not of this world, otherworldly. So these black feathers are whispering to you endings. The black feathers are whispering to you transformation. And it's also letting you know that you're covered even in the shadows. This blood moon, okay, is very bright. I should say that, all right? Painting heaven real red. There's a sort of like a celestial, supernatural presence that endings are in here and now, whether that's endings of yourself, endings of your negative thoughts, endings of spell work that went out and never got received. There's an end, and the blood moon is not very gentle about this. The blood moon is exposing what has been buried, what has been deep rooted, okay, and now uprooted, bringing a closure to cycles that maybe you took forever to close, okay, or you thought may have continued for a while. So, right now, this is like a pinpoint marker for transformation, and there's a lot of truth that's going to be revealed to you. There are a lot of truth that's being revealed into the light. It's like it's appearing slowly. And this eclipse, as you know, is in Pisces. We're going to be in our emotions. We're going to step into spiritual discernment, and it's going to pull on us in a way that we haven't been pulled on in a while. It's more releasing and grieving and letting go of what you and I both know can't stay. So now, in the midst of all this spiritual stuff, we got politicians, leaving this earth around the age of 31, which I find is funny because 13 is death. I'm not sure what 31 is. Look it up. Could be relevant. And you got to think of how public violence, puts a shockwave in the culture, and apply that to the conversations we're having right now about releasing and transformation and black feathers. And it's almost like death can tear open wounds that, we've kind of put a band-aid on, and we can't ignore it. We can't ignore these signs. We can't ignore these tragedies. We can't sit here and say that the world is not being shaken. So the blood moon has signaled, hello, ding dong, here we come. you know, we kind of have to understand that coverings are happening as hidden truths are being brought forward. I hope you understand this. Not everyone's going to get that when I say this, but it's not just a political sequence here. There's deeper things going on. God is kind of like giving you a reminder that you are not unprotected, but violence can make us feel like there's no covering. And you have to trust that there is an unseen guard. Hallelujah. Psalms 91 says he will cover us with his feathers, and under his wings we will find refuge. And in black feathers, we tend to often associate black with darkness, but it can also be a form of protection and safety in times of these shadow times. So let's go back to now the blood moon, right? The blood moon is unavoidable. We can't unsee it, right? Same with all the shadows that we've buried and hide and we like put in like a can of worms. Like we just bury it. Let's bury it with the worms. And I guess I'm here to tell you tonight that not all endings are final, okay? And the soil is black before it brings forth life. So as we ground, that's where I think the concept comes from. This is just my personal opinion. The concept of grounding comes from is that you have to go into the soil like a worm and you got to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle before you can come out. Okay. All right. So, although today is very tragic, because even in Toronto, somebody ran into a daycare. God knows what they were doing, killed a kid. And these are all spiritual signs and revelations slowly popping up here and there of how delicate life is and how we need to seek for clarity and how there are dangers, okay? There are dangers, but finding truth is always going to press through everything you need to understand. Because the cycles of fear and manipulation will only take you further and further away from yourself, disconnect you from others, disconnect you from the world. And you'll be like, okay, so what's the point of all these messages? It's to stay rooted, stay within the grounds, stay within the season where it calls for you to be in your shadow. It calls for you to actually be beneath the earth and not be afraid. Black feathers are there to say, I'm watching over you, and that there are unseen battles that are being fought in your favor and that you are not alone. The blood moon that just passed is here to let us know that death is not the end. Even with October, October's got that death vibe, right? And even though you're closing out a chapter, there's soil for a new beginning and releasing. Just have discernment, compassion, and everything will align with what's supposed to come your way. This is like a sober up season, okay? Don't be afraid of the shadow. It is your shield. Don't be afraid of black feathers. Understand that the mourning process, when you mourn for someone or mourn for something or the ending of something that is final, is actually a new gateway for renewal. It's almost like the end is not the beginning, or the end is the beginning is the end. You know, the first is the last is the first. So do not take lightly the times that we currently live in. They are calling you to have deeper discernment, deeper faith, and deeper courage. We out.